Hello guys, welcome back to my video. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm gonna be talking about Apple's 20th April event that's gonna be happening next Tuesday on April 20th. So essentially, Apple's spring event. Now, Apple, they do spring events, but they happen rarely compared to like Apple's September event, which happens every year, or October event. April event is the first event of this year, 2021. So we might see some of Apple's first 2021 products. And I'm going to be talking today what am I expecting to see from Apple's 20th April event. Let's begin. So, let's talk about one of the most heavily rumored products that I thinking that Apple will give us is the iMac 24-inch or the iMac, just the iMac. So, the iMac is heavily rumored and it's gonna come out this event because the iMac hasn't been updated in a while. Like the same design has already been used for about 9 years. People think that Apple will maybe definitely now update their desktop computer, especially also on Apple's new M1 chips, Apple Silicon chips. Current models are running Intel chips. MacBooks, Apple's notebooks are already starting to move into Apple Silicon, but the Mac desktops are not following it. Well, except for the Mac Mini. So Apple will, I'm hoping at least what the rumors say, Apple will now get into their other desktop models and update them as well with a new fresh design that looks modern and Apple Silicon processors that will be up to date. So iMacs are my number one definite expectations I would want to see from Apple. If they're not gonna update it, that's gonna be a bit lame, Apple really should think that the iMac's a bit already aging and it is time to update it with a new design and make it up to date with the latest processors from them. Next product I'm expecting to see new is the iPad Pro. The reason why is because the iPad Pro got updated last year in March. We didn't receive an update from March. We didn't receive any new products. So we thought Apple's gonna update the iPad Pro later in this event in April. Because the iPad Pro got updated last year in spring, we're expecting to see new updates coming to this year, especially the fact the iPad Pro just got a refresh, it's not an all new model, it's just a refresh with a lighter scanner, A12Z Bionic processor, and that's basically it. And obviously new accessories like the Magic Keyboard in addition, which you can also use with the previous generation iPad Pros. So now I think Apple's gonna roll out a new iPad Pro, which is gonna completely new, which is gonna have maybe a new processor, A14 Bionic like the iPad Air, but maybe an A14 by X Bionic like we had with the iPad Pro, the last generation A12X. Because we have the A14 chip in the new iPhone 12 and the iPad Air, maybe they're going to throw in an A14X to the iPad Pro so that can be more powerful than the iPad Air, which is what it should be. It's a Pro. It's the flagship model of the Apple's tablets. And what I'm also expecting to see from the iPad Pro, maybe the design, I'm not expecting to change the design much because why would they change design? It's still perfect by today's standards. It's thin, it's light, it's full screen, small bezels. Maybe they're gonna give it a new screen as well. So the iPad Pro has a liquid retina display, which has 120 Hz refresh rate, ProMotion as they call it. That's nice, but I think they're gonna give it OLED. Because that's being heavily rumored quite. iPads will finally maybe receive OLED screens, and that's gonna make colors a bit more. Good things with OLEDs is they do really represent black colors really nice. Like if you have a black background in for example, the iPhone 11 Pro I have, it will be black. So it will be deep blacks and it will match the color of for example, the notch, and it will look like you have a bezel-less phone basically. The iPads with their liquid retina display, they do represent some nice colors, but not as nice as OLED does. So OLED might be an addition to the next generation iPads, and for better display colors, and also what I would want is brighter displays. So the iPad Pro current generation has 600 nits. I would love more. Because if it's gonna be OLED, it's gonna be like the, I'm guessing like the iPhones, 800 nits and 1200 nits with HDR content. That would be nice as well, because 600 nits in some cases is lacking when I'm viewing content on the iPad Pro. But yeah, the iPad Pro I think is one of the products that might be definitely most likely updated and or the next generation. And talking about iPads also, well as I'm expecting the iPad Mini. The iPad Mini has also not not been updated in a while. The Mini 5 has been released in 2019, so it's been 2 years already that hasn't been updated. I think it's time to update it, especially with its design. You know, the iPad Pro and Air are already following the same design language, and the Mini is left out. Yeah, there's the iPad 8 generation, but that has already been updated recently. So I'm expecting the Mini to be updated as well with the same design language, possibly bigger display like 8.2 inches or something, with the same design language as the iPad Pro and Air, just smaller. That would be nice as well. Well, a small tablet that looks portable, that looks more modern, more powerful, and it's small. You can easily carry it. I don't know, anywhere if you prefer a smaller tablet than big ones. But yeah, those two iPads are my expectations for, to be shown on the April event, because I feel like it's time to update them. Next up, let's talk about AirPods. I think it's less likely AirPods are gonna be updated because it's too much already products. Like we got two iPads and a Mac. But who knows? Apple might roll out new AirPods, and if they will, I think they'll update all the models except the Macs, like the AirPods and the AirPods Pros, because it's time. So the AirPods have been out, well, from 2018, the second generation, or radically, actually 2016. Like the design hasn't been changed since then, and Apple, I think, they'll have to already update the AirPods. They're like, let's technically 5 years old, the same design. The AirPods Pro, they're like 2 years old already, and yeah, they also haven't been updated. But I think it's also time to update them. They're heavily rumored, not as heavily as iMac, so that's why I'm not expecting to be updated. But if they will, that would be nice, because I think it's already time to update all the AirPods, earbuds. So if Apple will, that would be nice. Next up, one of the products that's well less likely again that's gonna be updated is the MacBook Pro 13 inch with four Thunderbolt ports, running on Apple M1 X or something silicon, and MacBook Pro 16 inch running on Apple Silicon as well. Again, those products I'm not expecting to be updated because it's already going to be too much products. Apple just recently released the MacBook Pro 13 inch Air and Mac Mini with the Apple Silicon. I'm not really expected to be them updated, but who knows? Again, if they will be updated, that would be nice. A lot of people are waiting for the next generation of Apple Silicon. That's gonna be way more powerful, and it's gonna be mind blowing and impress us more. What the next generation of Apple Silicon will be able to do. The M1 is already a really really capable processor. Um, we can't wait until what the next generation of Apple Silicon will show us the true potential. So the MacBook Pro 16 inch and the 13 inch, possibly the 14 inch, again, they might be updated because we've been waiting for this long time. The MacBook Pro 16 inch hasn't been updated since 2019. But because Apple already released the M1 MacBooks like the Air and the Pro and the Mac Mini, I'm not really expecting them to update it yet. So they might be updated later, like in May, because Apple did update for example, the 13-inch MacBook Pro in May last year. So who knows? They might update the 16-inch and the 13-inch in May or later in June, whatever. So if Apple wouldn't update them, it is kind of expected. But if they will, again, that would be brilliant. But let's now wrap it up. So all of these products are my expectations on the event, and if you know Apple will show us more than the Macs, more than the iMacs and the iPads, that would be nice. Like AirPods, either AirPods, either new MacBooks. But I'm really looking forward to Apple's April event, and I hope something will be updated alongside the iMacs and the iPads, because those two that I just said are definitely one of the most expected updates we're waiting. Hopefully Apple will, impress us as they usually do. I mean, lately, to be honest, the M1, the November event, has been one of the most, coolest of the Apple M1 chips. But also, when we talk about new products from Apple nowadays, they don't really have new design changes, and that's because obviously Apple doesn't have to change the design much. They don't have much to change. Like, why would they change it if it's already good enough? But who knows? Apple will, maybe they will find ways to impress us, and I hope they will. And I hope the products that are going to be released are going to be brilliant. So I'm really looking forward to the Apple's 20th April event, and hopefully they will impress us. Thanks guys for watching, and let me know in the comments what are you expecting from Apple in the April 20th event. So guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.